Hey everybody, welcome again to another video from Everything Worship. So before we get into today's video, I'd like to remind you, please subscribe to the channel and like, comment, and also share to people that you feel this can help. And that way we can reach as many people as we can. So last week we looked at John 4 and what it means to worship God in spirit and in truth. If you missed that video, you can click the link right above me here, and that will take you to that video. So today I wanted to talk about what value you place on worship. As we've been talking about worship, and then the understanding that we can worship God wherever we are, and we can worship God and worship being a response out of our hearts. I think it's important that you look in your heart and ask yourself this question: what value do you place on worship? We have an ability to respond in a certain way to things around us. That is what God placed in us. But the thing is that we need to be aware of and understand is that ability which is in us is for God. It's for us to respond to God. God says He's a jealous God, and we are to worship only Him. As an individual, do you value worship? Do you understand that worship creates a platform for God to work in your life? Do you understand that as you exalt Him, as you magnify His name, as you praise Him, as you lift Him up, then that allows Him to be big in your life. That allows Him the opportunity to work in your life. And that's what God intended worship to be. Sometimes I feel like as people, we limit worship to music. Yeah, that's one of the ways that we get to respond through music. That's the popular way that we know to say, okay, when you sing a song, then it's easier for you to respond in a song because of what music is. And music is powerful. It's a powerful tool. And yeah, it can be used for us to express ourselves and to worship God. But that's one of the tools. But I'd like you to think on these other forms of worship as well. Giving. Giving is a form of worship. When you're giving, you are worshiping God. You're saying, Lord, you are great in my life. You have provided in my life. Now I'm giving back to you. I'm giving as a sign of worship, as a sign of reverence, as a sign of respect and honor to you, Lord. I am giving. I'm giving to my church. I am blessing somebody because of who you are. And Lord, because of what you have done. That is a response. You're responding through giving. You're giving money. You're giving your time. You serve at your church, or you serve at a community. You help people. You're giving of your time. That's worship. You're worshiping God because you realize that you were put on this earth not for your own consumption, but you were put on this earth as an answer to somebody who needs God, somebody who's praying for a breakthrough to God, and that's what you're worshiping. That's one form of worship. It's giving. Again, we have to be careful because when we talk about giving, you're thinking, okay, it's the money. No, it's not the money. You can give of your time. You can give of the money, as it were, but as long as it's coming from a heart where you understand that, I'm giving out of a response to God and who He is, that is worship. So it is not only music. It is not only music. It is not only music. It is not only through songs. It is not only when you hear a guitar and when you hear somebody sing, then that's worship. No, that's not worship. Somebody can sing and Nothing happens. We clap and that's all. That's all that happens. The life of that person is not changed. The life of the person who's listening to the song doesn't change. So true worship, again, true worship, the measure of true worship is it coming from the heart? And are you doing that out of the abundance of your heart and knowing who God is and what He has done? Let me take it even further. If you're married, how are you translating that worship experience in your marriage? Are you living according to what God says about living together as a married couple? And is that coming from a heart of, okay, God, I know and understand that this is what you desire for us as a married couple? Yeah, so in your marriage, can we see a reverence to God? Can we see God first in your marriage? Can we see you living according to what God says marriage should be about? That is worship. Are you, if you have kids, can we see worship in your kids and the way you raise your kids? Can we see God in that? That is worship. That is worship. The way you are at work as an individual, how are you treating others at work, your friends? Are you a good friend? Are you a good co-worker? All that comes from a heart of knowing who God is and how that translates in your heart, and then we can see the effect of that. It is not just about singing, because worship is all about your heart. And we've been talking and saying, what is in your heart? Because if your heart is not positioned right, if your heart is in a mess, if you have issues in your marriage, if you have issues with your friends and you can't get along with anybody, if you have issues at work, all those things affect your heart. I think there's a reason why God said, if you've wronged your brother, go to your brother first, talk about it with your brother, forgive each other, then come and offer the offering to me. He was saying, then come and worship me. If you have an issue with your spouse, if you have an issue with your kids, you don't treat them right. If you have an issue with your friends, if you have got an issue with your workplace or somebody near you, deal with those things. Now we have to understand that I'm not saying that we need to be perfect, because none of us are perfect. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We are all relying on the grace of God to do what we are doing, but we have to be purposeful with how we are living our lives, and we have to understand that true worship will not just come and hit us on the head and then we're like, oh, now I'm truly worshiping God. No, that's not, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens by understanding, and it happens by you applying yourself and applying a certain value to this, and knowing that if I'm able to apply myself in these areas of my life, if I'm able to honor you, God, and able to listen to what you've said to all these areas of my life and live according to what you've said in all these areas of my life, then that will shape me. It will shape my heart, that when I open my mouth and say, Lord, I'm truly grateful, I'm honored, and I thank you for what you're doing in my life, it will come from a heart that's true. So take some time these next couple of weeks to really look at your life and the various areas of your life. How are you doing in the areas that we've talked about? How are you doing? Are you reverencing God? Are you living according to what God says in His Word that you should live in that area? The area of your finances, in the area of marriage, in the area of just your work and community and friends, and all these areas, your kids, if you have kids, how are you living? Can we see a pattern in these areas? Are you putting God first? Are you worshiping God in those areas? Thanks for watching. Remember to share this video, and I'll see you in the next one.